we're going to have Miss Terri. And Miss Terri, I'm so glad to have you today, and I'm glad we could get this squared away. This is mental health is special to me because we have so many people in our country and in our world that have mental health needs, whether it be like the children at school that have special ed needs, but then that goes on to other needs that go undetected.
Exactly, and thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys. You do a great job here.
Thank you.
But yes, we just celebrated May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We did a lot of stuff out in the community and stuff to try to get it out there to let people know, we are here and we can help.
Well, I know a lot of people, for example, anxiety and depression, for example, they won't tell you they're suffering with that. And matter of fact, they may not know they're suffering with. They may not know that's what it's called, because they just know they're having some issues.
Exactly. Anxiety and depression is the number one mental health illness right now, because anybody, any situation can cause these.
Well, and sometimes with anxiety and depression, sometimes it's an imbalance in your body system. Where there's something you can't help. That's a physical thing. Exactly,
and physical conditions can cause it. I mean, if you're really anxious about a diagnosis you might get, or you're afraid this is going to be cancer, or if you're going to be diabetic and you're going to have to deal with that situation, this can happen.
Yeah, a lot of people they worry is another thing that when someone worries, it hurts their mental health as well, because it causes strain and stress on the body.
Exactly.
And people don't realize that. I don't think they understand that it causes the body really to break down in a sense.
It does, and it makes it harder to get over situations with your physical health. If you overly worry, if you're overly, down, it affects your whole way of life.
Uh-huh.
Then it's serious enough you need to deal with.
Yeah, because I know I've never dealt with that. I have friends and family members who have depression and anxiety, and sometimes when people are like on job situations, for example, that they face pressures to get things done, and maybe your boss is on to you about things.
Exactly.
And those things wear on you, and sometimes that causes you to be on the edge, so to speak, and you can't.
And you don't function at work. When you get to that situation, you quit functioning and you start trying to survive.
Well, yeah, and then sometimes just the least little thing that's out of the ordinary might throw you off, and then you can't deal with it because it's something you weren't planning on.
Exactly. Everybody goes through this. I mean, everybody's had some kind of depression at one time or another, whether they want to admit it or not. Anxiety is a way of life sometimes. You get anxious about your job, am I going to get the bills paid this month, or where's my next bite of food coming from?
Right.
Stuff like that, and it can weigh on you after a while.
Right. I mean, there's all kind of things, like you said, the bills and food and things like that. I mean, that would wear you out.
It will, but when it gets to a point to where you're fixating on it, you just can't function anymore because of it, then that's a situation we need to help you deal with.
Right, and people don't. A lot of people, at least some of the people I've known, that instead of reaching out, they think, well, I'm not crazy, but that's not the point. We're not talking about being crazy and needing mental health. We're talking about needing mental health to help you deal with issues that might be in your life.
Sure, mental health is, people think back sometimes in the 50s and 60s where, everybody thought, you got a mental health, you're crazy, so we need to keep it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Mental health is advanced. We've learned more about it.
Uh-huh.
We know that simple anxiety and depression can get to a point to where you you don't want to deal with it anymore.
Right, and that leads to a lot of things. We can look in our country. We see all these like these mass shootings and things, and a lot of that was from people who had issues and should have been taking their medication, got off their medication for whatever reason. And I'm not touting necessarily medicine for everything, because it's not always the
no,
thing.
It's not always the answer. The answer sometimes is just to be able to talk with somebody too, and let them help you in situations like our care managers. If you're having food issues, if you're having, finding a place to live, if you're having, all sorts of stuff like that, then talking with somebody and letting them help you get through that issue will help with you being so anxious and so depressed.
Right, and we talk about the military people having PTSD, but there's a lot of just regular folks that have that. From, like I said, we've got the homeless. I know we have some homeless here in Dunlap. I see them every day walking around, and
unfortunately, yes, it's true.
I hate that, because they don't. I don't know why they're homeless. But a lot of times it's because they've done everything they can do, and they're just out of luck.
Yeah, or they don't have any family. They don't have anyone to help them in that situation, so they're just there. I see them walk the street every day, and that's what we do. We want to get you out of that situation, and whatever caused you to get into that situation, let's talk about it. Let's see how we can get that turned around for you.
Right, because a lot of people. Like the homeless, they burned all their bridges with family and friends, and maybe it's because of the family and friends didn't understand they were having issues,
right?
And they would try to offer, and then that person, because of their issues, that either rejected things or did things that I won't say necessarily wasn't their fault, but because of the situation, it caused them to do things that people don't understand.
Yeah, and sometimes family will turn away from, they don't want anyone to know about this mental health situation. They don't want anybody to know you're like that. And sometimes they'll, try to ignore it. So when you ignore the situation with a family member like that, you're just feeding it, because they don't have anywhere to go, nobody to talk to. And their depression gets deeper and deeper. And when it gets to that point, that's where some of this stuff where, they go into schools trying to hurt people. They go into businesses, and they're just like, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, because sometimes they're at their wits' end, because they've tried everything they know to do. And maybe the people they've tried to talk to either didn't listen or didn't understand, so they couldn't communicate because they're on different pages, so to speak.
Right, and family has a hard time understanding that, but everybody has went through it. If everybody will stop and think for a minute, everybody goes through some kind of depression at one time or another, whether losing family members or being sick, and they don't know how to deal with the situation, or they've lost their job. Can't find another job. How am I going to support my family? And you get really anxious on top of that. You can have anxiety and depression at the same time. You're real anxious about things, and then you just start digging a hole, making it deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned like losing a family member. That can be a lot, especially. Well, a lot of families are real close knit, and then when you lose that person, it affects you in a lot of ways. Yes. And sometimes you don't know how to deal with that, or it takes you a while to get over things, because death is going to come to all of us at one point in time.
Yes.
I'm not trying to downplay it, but it's just something that's a fact of life.
Well, I'm a mental health professional for nearly 30 years now, and when my husband passed, I had a very difficult time, and I know all the signs and symptoms.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I should be able to fix this, but sometimes you've got to have somebody to help you get through that, because it was very devastating. I mean, we were married for 35 years, and after 35 years, all of a sudden, friends look at you differently. You're home alone now.
Yes.
Things like that, and it changes you. It changes you.
Well, I know. Right before I was diagnosed with with my liver disorder, before I had to have my transplant, I had some blood work done. I had just a regular physical, and they came back and said, "Well, your red and white blood cells are not right." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, you might have cancer." And I thought, "Oh, great!"
Right.
And and it was going to be 3 months before I could even get into a blood doctor, so he could run his tests.
Exactly.
And so I'd sit at church, and I'm thinking, well, that'll be a good song for my funeral. That'll be a good song for my funeral.
Yes.
And I was really worried about it. I thought, well, so then when I found out it was a hemochromatosis, which is an iron disorder,
right.
I felt a whole lot better about that. But then I had to have that liver transplant, and that was a scary situation too. You never know. Anytime you have surgery,
exactly,
things could go sideways.
Exactly, and people now are having that weight loss surgery and stuff, and they will not do that weight loss surgery till they know you're mentally stable enough to go through that, because there's so much you have to go through. And same thing with any surgery.
Well, I had to go to Vanderbilt for a week, and I had to go see a psychologist. I had to see all these other doctors, and
yes.
I went through the gambit.
Yes.
They were going. After that week, I thought, boy, I'm glad I'm going to go home. But it was one of those things. They told me, says you have to be mentally ready for this. And,
yes.
And of course, I have a church background. It doesn't mean that people in church don't have anxiety and depression, because they do.
They do.
Because I can think of some right now, right off the bat. And they're having to deal with it, and they're having a hard time with it. And, a lot of people don't understand sometimes with anxiety and depression, just going out and eating a meal, being around people, it throws you off.
Yes, when you get to that point, just normal everyday functions, going out to the grocery store and grabbing, stuff for supper, or, grabbing something at a fast food place because you don't want to cook. Things like that. When you get out and you're very deep in depression and your anxiety's high, everything is affected. So when you get to that point, it's time to say, okay, it's time for me to help myself and let's do something.
Right. And I don't, of course, we're not here at the station. We do not promote any religious organizations. We have them that advertise with us. But, just me personally, I think having a good relationship with God.
Yes.
And that helps, because you can always turn to God. That's just my way I feel about it. And if you're offended by that, I'm sorry.
Right.
But I think that helps out. It helps me a lot each and every day. It helps me get up every day, because a lot of people with depression, they have a hard time getting up.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of depression people. They don't even get up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you're sleeping continuously like that, just to try to get through the day, then it's a problem.
Yeah, and so that, and then, of course, you have to have a good, when I talk about God, the relationship with God, but I think you have to have a good relationship with others too. And that way people know you for who you are, not what you are.
Right.
And that way they can identify with you and they can support you. I know one of my friends that she has anxiety and depression, and I know her friend finally got her to go out one day, just take her out to lunch, and that made her feel better, although she was still, leery, but she still had a good time. It's just,
but she made that first step.
Yeah.
And when you get to the point where you can't make that first step, it's time.
Right. And Volunteer Behavior Health, you have an office over here on Fredonia Road.
Yes, on 121 Fredonia Road.
And it's a great little facility. And how many folks work there?
I have 4 that works there right now. But we're increasing every day. So I'm looking to hire one here very soon.
And you have that office, and you have the office in Jasper, is that right?
Yes.
And I'm sure if money permitted, you could have an office all up and down the valley, wouldn't you?
Sure, we would, because we stay pretty busy. We stay pretty busy at this little office up here, and it's not that little anymore. We've expanded it. So I'm hoping, of course, we just got the opiate abatement grant here in Sequatchie County. We've expanded to another person up here to where we're going to have them sitting at community centers and at the jail and the health department. She's there right now every Thursday. And so if you have a mental health issue, she works for us, so she can help you get into the right direction.
And also, sometimes people are embarrassed and don't want people to know. But if you're having an issue, I've always, if I couldn't do something, I always wanted somebody that could help me do it.
Yes.
And if you can't deal with your anxiety or depression, you need go over here on Fredonia Road and come to the office. You take walk-ins too.
Oh yeah, we got a no wrong door policy, which means when you walk in that door and you're saying, "I want some help. I want to get this better," we're going to get you in with a doctor, to see you for your mental health if medication is needed. If not, we'll get you in with a therapist, and our care managers is there every day, 5 days a week.
Well, and that's good because a lot of times, and a lot of times we look at people and we think they're always, and a lot of times people with anxiety and depression, they'll have a smile on their face.
Yes.
And they're active and they do things, but behind the scenes, they're just eating up with this.
Yes, and that's the reason we come in and we've got a nice atmosphere there. It looks like home. We've decorated it up. We want you to feel comfortable there. Our care managers, I hire the very best caring people known to man there. And they've been through some of the stuff that you've been through. Mm-hmm. So it makes it's easier for them to talk with you, and they will talk with you and help you in any situation.
Right. And if it was things like not knowing where their next meal is going to be or paying their next bill, I'm sure y'all have connections so you get people that can help with that as well, help ease that pain.
Oh, yeah. We've got resources, and I check for resources every day. All the care managers do. We stay very tight with each other, so when we find a resource, we pass it on to everyone else. So we've got resources for housing and anything basically you could need right now. So if you've got something that's causing you that deep of pain, mm-hmm. come on in for your depression.
Well, yeah, because you definitely need that, because you don't need to just keep going around holding it in, because like I said, that a lot of people that have health issues, it's because they've held things in, just like anger.
Right.
If you hold anger in, it really destroys you.
Well, when you're coming to a point where you're angry, uh-huh. and you're striking out at people, then it's something that needs to be addressed.
Hold on a second. Good morning, WSTQ.
Is the swapping shop out?
It will be in about 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, can I go ahead and put something on, or I have to call back?
Well, I'm in the middle of an interview.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Bobby.
That's all right. Just call me back in a few minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Because I know just from seeing people, or even at times when I won't say I've had depression or anxiety, but things when I've worried about some things, it bothers you. To me, it bothers my stomach.
Yes.
Because that's nerves. A lot of it is nerves.
Right.
And, it'll mess up your digestion system, and then from there,
it can affect a lot of things. I mean, your heart. Your lungs, if it starts causing you physical ailments, and then it's time. It's time you need to do something so we can help you. We'll get you back healthy. We stay in contact with PCPs right now. We're very into health because mental health and physical health go hand in hand. So if one's out of whack, it's going to cause the other to go out of whack.
Yeah, and people need to understand that, because you may think, well, I'm okay, except I have this one issue, and then that one issue can cause you a whole bunch of other issues. Just like that, my iron overload, it was a 2,100 count, and the normal's 150.
Exactly.
So it had eaten my liver up.
Yes.
And so that's why I had to have the transplant, because I had cirrhosis of the liver, and I don't drink or anything. It just had eat it up.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have anything to do with the anxiety and depression, but those things happen, and it affects your other organs, like you said, your heart and things like that. And
which causes your physical health to go downhill.
yeah,
I mean, if all you're doing is laying around sleeping, you're not eating half the time because you're not hungry because of the depression or anxiety. Your health's going to go downhill. You're not getting the right vitamins.
Well, and I think, of course, people need to get involved in a lot of things, whether it be volunteering for whatever, library, the fair, anything. Be a volunteer fireman. Get involved in more. The more you do things, the way I look at it, the more you do things, it takes your mind off of what's really bothering you, and that may not always be the case. But when you're with all the things I do, and I'm quite involved in a lot of things, I don't have time to even think about myself.
Right.
And so I don't worry about what's not going on or what's not.
Well, with a person with a lot of anxiety and a real deep depression, they won't even try to function like that. They won't even think about getting out. They're lucky to get up and take a shower.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll not shower.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things that affects with depression and anxiety. And if you have a little of both, that's really an issue to deal with.
Right. And if you, the thing of it is, if I was just stayed at home and didn't get out of the house, that would bother me.
Right.
Because I have to be out and doing things. And, sometimes I just like sitting on my porch and drinking my coffee.
Yes.
Just enjoying my surroundings and everything. And
when you get to the point where you're not enjoying anything anymore, then we need to find what's causing that. Whether it's something going on in your life, or you just can't function anymore. With whatever situation you're in. Now,
how can they contact your place here in Dunlap?
Just come by the office. Just walk through the door. You can call the 942-3961, and it gives you the option to transfer to Dunlap. Or you can just call our Dunlap office. So we just walk in. Just walk in and say, hey, I need to get some help. And we're going to get you help that day. I mean, we're going to get you with some good people. They're going to talk with you, see what all we can do to help the situation that you're in that's causing you to feel this way.
And I failed to mention that you had a day at Harris Park in May.
We did.
And how'd that go?
We had about 70, 80 people there, which was good. It was a start, but we're going to try to have this every year, and I figure it'll increase as we go.
Well, good. I know that particular day I had things to do, and I got wrapped up in doing what I had to do, and then when I remembered it, I thought, oh, they're closed now.
Well, we're going to do it every year, and I think they've got a little thing going over here at Harris Park. We're over there today, too.
Yeah, that's the... by the way, I was going to mention that since you brought it up. It's the Summer Safety Bash. That goes from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here at Harris Park. There'll be a lot of things going on, and go by, and there'll be food and resources and things you can do. So, and that's kind of neat. And
give a kid a chance. We're going to be part of that. So we want to help our children also in this area. Children go through the same thing.
They do, and being an educator, I've seen it in young children, as well. Not only, I concentrate on the middle school level when I talk, but my wife was at the lower levels, and you see it in sometimes these children, and that's what gets next to me is when you see it in children and especially young children. They can't tell you what's going on. They don't know.
Well, they don't know. They don't know what's going on. They hadn't been here long enough to understand what's going on with me. And parents sometimes ignore the symptoms. If they're starting to get angry a lot, if they're starting to lay around a lot, not participating in anything, those are kind of signs to look for.
Right, and let's talk about signs. What are some signs people could look for if maybe they had a family member or friends that maybe they're not aware that they're that way? What are some of the signs they might could look for that might could help them?
Over responses to situations. If they're overly reacting to things going on around them, you can't control your responses. You just say anything that comes out of your mind. Women are about twice as likely as men to have it, the anxiety, and makes it difficult to get through the day. But
That's because they have to put up with us. Huh?
yeah, well, I wouldn't say that. But anyway, there's different types of anxiety. The one that causes fear, worry, and constant being overwhelmed. Then acrophobia, it's intense fear of becoming overwhelmed or unable to escape or get help. Panic disorders, that's part of anxiety, involves attacks usually happen around mornings and aren't due to mental health but physical conditions.
Right, those panic attacks can come on at any time.
Oh yeah.
And you might be driving down the road and have one and you're just driving down the road. Yes.
Anxiety, if somebody in front of you is going to stop in front of you or something. Phobias is part of anxiety. It causes you to feel fear or anxiety. So severe it constantly and overwhelmingly disrupts your life. There's hundreds of phobias out there people are afraid of, Social phobia, when you are intense and outgoing fear of being judged negatively in the public. Separation disorder, when you're separated from a loved one situation, that's a lot of when you lose a loved one who passes. Separation from your children. You're in a divorce and you're going through separation from your kids. I've seen a lot of that recently. It's just there is just so much stuff that causes post-traumatic stress in people.
You can't pinpoint just say here's the signs or here's the conditions, because it could be a lot of things out there that one thing for you, one thing for me.
Yeah, anxiety is a lot of things. Depression goes kind of along with it. Your anxiety gets really bad, then your depression's going to get deeper. And things are just not going to get better. If you see things just not, after so long a period, things are not getting better, then come see us.
Well, that's the key. I want people to understand, because that's why I wanted to start this program, and because there's other things like, say, and hopefully next month we'll talk about some other issues.
Exactly.
Each month. But I want people to understand there is help. And they need to reach out. Don't hold it all in, because you hold it all in, that could lead to a lot of things like, well, even heart attacks and things like that.
Yes.
All the pressure you build in, and it just keeps building up. It's just like the tea kettle. It'll eventually.
Oh, yeah. When you see these people out in public, like you're going to Walmart, and somebody's throwing a fit in there over something, or they're angry at people walking by them and, don't want to people around them, but the people keeps getting close to them in Walmart, things like that, and they're getting very angry. That's the kind of thing that, number one, you don't need to do that with people like that. You need to just walk away. But depression and anxiety is very difficult to deal with when it gets to that point, and you need help to get that through. And if you can just talk with somebody and let us help you get through the situation, then we can help you start functioning again.
Right, and that's the key, is getting help. And I want people to understand that is they need help, get it. If a lot of people, they go on these YouTube videos to see how to do things, like, so why can't you go to the local health department or local volunteer behavioral health office and get help? Oh,
yeah. Yeah, we've got people on the phones. Of course, we're a part of the new 888 number for if you get to that point where, oh boy, I can't do this anymore, I'm just going to take myself out of the picture. We're a part of that too. So any calls like that comes in, they will talk with you, try to help you, understand, and then we'll get you some help you need. If nothing else, get you in with the center the next day. We want to make sure that we're here for any kind of situations. And that's the reason we've got somebody, Aliana. She sits at the health department on Thursdays. And very soon we're going to have some sitting around in different areas. So it's going to be in different areas. So if you don't feel like coming to the mental health center at first, you can talk with her out at the community center and stuff, and she will help you get eased into that.
Right, because a lot of people have this idea that if people see me walking in there, they're going to think I'm crazy. And, they have this, it's a mental thing for a lot of people.
Right.
They need to get past that.
Well, part of May Mental Health Awareness Month was get it out there and let it know. This, and the insurance companies are now recognizing this. Mental health and physical health should be treated the same. Don't treat mental health like it's something to be, we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we do need to talk about it. Like I said, one affects the other, and it's very, very important that we deal with them the same.
Right.
And the insurance are now doing that.
Well, that's good. Well, Miss Terri, it's about time for us to shut this one off so I can go on with the rest of my program. But I do appreciate you being in here, and I'm looking forward to these programs that we're going to have because I think it's very important for everybody to be informed because a lot of people I know there's a lot of people out there that are
suffering in silence.
Yes, and so we need to get them an opportunity to come to your places that they can get help or call because as you mentioned, sometimes they try to end it, and then when they do, that causes maybe depression or anxiety in other people that didn't have it before.
Sure, if you had kids and you're going through a divorce and you said, I can't do without them anymore, and you take yourself out, then it affects your children.
Yeah.
So you're passing that on down to everybody else. Let's get it taken care of so we can help you move forward.
Well, we do appreciate you taking out your time today for being here, and I'm glad we could work this out. And like I say, I'm looking forward to it next month.
Well, mental health's my passion, so you want to talk about it, I'm here.
All right. Well, just come up with some more topics next month, and we'll be ready.
I'll do it.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.